Hi, I'm Danielle, your online English speaking tutor. In a previous video, you learned how to use the modal verbs may, could, and would to ask questions politely in English. In this lesson, you will learn one other way to ask questions politely when speaking in English. So what I would like for you to do is grab a notebook and something to write with and get ready to take some notes. You know that may, could, and would are used to make questions sound more polite in English. Now let's talk about how you can also use indirect questions to do this. However, in order for you to understand what indirect questions are, I want to talk a little bit more about the different question types. First up, yes-no questions. We call these yes-no questions because the answer to them is usually going to be yes or no. Yes-no questions often begin with the verbs do, are, or have. However, you can also use a modal verb to begin a yes-no question. Here's an example of a yes-no question. Do you like chocolate? And so your answer should be yes, I like chocolate, or no, I don't like chocolate. Then there are info questions. We use the question word how or the WH words who, what, when, where, why, or which to ask these types of questions. And they are called info questions because they provide details or information. Where are you from is an example of an info question. And your answer to this question should be the country, city, or state that you are from. And as you can see, this is the opposite of a yes-no question. The yes-no and info question examples I provided are also known as direct questions. And it's okay to ask direct questions. No one will get upset with you if you ask them a direct question. However, if you want to sound a little more polite, especially when talking to someone you don't know or when asking for a favor or for help, then it's really great to use an indirect question. To create an indirect question, you will need to take a set indirect question phrase and add it before a direct question. In addition, if a direct question has a subject and a verb, you will need to change the order in the indirect question so that the subject comes before the verb. Let's make the direct yes-no question, do you like chocolate, into an indirect question. First, we will use the set phrase, could you tell me? Next, we will add the word if, and that is because this is a yes-no question. And then we will add the direct question. However, remember, we will need to change the order of the verb and the subject. In addition, since this question begins with the word do, we will not need to include it in the indirect question. So, our final indirect question is, could you tell me if you like chocolate? You can also say, could you tell me whether you like chocolate? And it has the same meaning. However, we're more likely to use the word if. Okay, let's change one more direct yes-no question into an indirect question. The direct question is, have you ever been to the United States? And the indirect question will be, could you tell me if you have ever been to the United States? Now, let's change a direct info question into an indirect question. The direct question is, where are you from? And the indirect question will be, could you tell me where you are from? If you remember, I said that we only add if when the question is a yes/no question. And so since this is an info question, we did not need to add the word if before the direct question. Earlier, I said there are some set phrases used with indirect questions. Up next, I will share some of the most commonly used ones, along with some example questions. For speaking practice, you may repeat after me. Could you tell me? Could you tell me what time it is? Could you tell me if a restaurant is nearby? Can you tell me? Can you tell me who won the game? Can you tell me if the food is delicious? Do you know? Do you know when the meeting will begin? Do you know if their plane has arrived? Do you think? This is used to ask another person's opinion. Do you think he will like the present? Do you think we should leave early? Do you remember? Do you remember what happened? Do you remember what her name is? Is there any chance? This is used to ask another person for help or for a favor. Is there any chance you have a pen I may borrow? Is there any chance you could drive me to work? Would you mind? This is often used to ask for help or a favor, but can also be used to ask a yes/no question. Don't include the first verb from a yes/no question in the indirect question. Also, if a verb comes after mind, it must end with ing. Would you mind telling me where the ice cream is? Would you mind if I sit next to you? Would it be possible? This is often used to ask for help or a favor, but it can also be used to ask a yes/no question. Don't include the first verb from a yes/no question in the indirect question. Also, you will not need to use if or whether after possible. Would it be possible to reschedule our flight? Would it be possible to start the meeting early? Now you know how to create indirect questions to ask questions politely in English. This topic can be a little difficult, and for that reason, I recommend watching this video as many times as you need. For more practice, write your own indirect questions in a comment below. Also, if you have questions or suggestions for future videos, please let me know in a comment. That's it for now. Thank you so much for watching this video. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Have a great day. Bye.